Hurricane Irma batters the Caribbean. Texans are dealing with the devastation of Harvey. More than 1 million have been displaced. Around 53,000 people are now living in hotels. Last week, FEMA Administrator Brock Long said that Texas is about to go through one of the largest recovery housing missions that the nation has ever seen.
Eventually, one of the largest missions that's going to take place is mucking out houses and helping people try to save their homes. The shelter mission is the biggest battle that we have right now as well. Obviously, we've rolled a tremendous number of assets to support the life-sustaining mission in shelters. Shelters are never an ideal situation. We understand that. We're throwing everything we can at them.
I want to bring in the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development now, Dr. Ben Carson. Secretary Carson, good to see you, sir. Thanks very much for joining us.
Good to be with you again, Maria.
Well, we've been having this conversation. We have Don Peebles on the show today. He's the developer, and he said a moment ago Houston is going to be forever changed. There's so many homeless people now there. They're going to rebuild in other cities. How is the agency helping with housing needs right now when you look at Harvey and Irma?
Well, first of all, in the 39 affected counties in Texas, there are 61 public housing authorities affecting the lives and families of over 48,000 people. And then there's the multifamily units that are supported by HUD, over 20,000 families. So we're assessing where those people are, looking at the units that they were in, rapidly getting them restored, getting people back into the places that can be inhabited, and finding transitional housing for others. But there are a number of other things that are going on as well. We're helping the states and localities reallocate existing federal resources to disaster relief, suspending foreclosure proceedings, making mortgages available, and making available insurance for rehabilitation, Section 108 loans for a number of things, and also making sure that the counseling agencies are equipped with the knowledge to be able to quickly help people to get back into a viable situation. We're not just talking about the poor. We're talking about, you know, the middle class and people who are affected by FHA loans.
Yeah. Well, $50 million has been approved for housing assistance, including rental assistance. How can survivors use that money for temporary housing? Tell us how the allocation happens here in terms of money.
Well, a lot of it is done through vouchers which allow people to get into transitional housing situations. But, you know, there are inspectors. We're working with FEMA to very quickly assess what needs to be done in House A, House B, House C, in order to rapidly address the situation and get people back into it. The waters have receded very significantly in some areas, and those houses are ready to be rehabilitated. And we're cutting the red tape so that we can get that money. Much of that early money is being done through FEMA. The later money will be done through HUD.
Yeah, but meanwhile, FEMA is now expected to run out of money by Friday. This is a new Bloomberg report out this morning, and it says that the agency's disaster relief fund has just over $1 billion on hand. That's less than half of the amount that was there just last week. So if your agency is working with FEMA to provide housing needs to natural disaster survivors, what do you say to this, the fact that we're worried that FEMA is actually running out of money this week?
Well, the fortunate thing is that Congress is hearing that news also. And they, I believe, are going to act very quickly, because no one is really interested in us getting into a situation where we cannot handle what needs to be done financially.
Okay, so you think then that the money coming from the federal government will go to FEMA, and then they'll just pay up, even knowing that FEMA is stretched?
Yeah, well, recognize that the $7.8 billion is a down payment. I mean, we're going to be looking at multiples of that. So we just need to be able to do something quickly, and that is going to be done.
Secretary, do you think that what I was mentioning earlier, that people will ultimately move to other cities, that long-term that there's an impact here because it's just going to have a very different look and feel, the city of Houston, as a result of this, and fewer people possibly?
Well, you know, Texans are very resilient people, so I don't think a whole lot of them are going to flee. But there's no question that the cornfields of Iowa can sometimes look a little more attractive after a couple of hurricanes.
Yeah, well, that's Harvey, certainly. What is your department doing in terms of Irma, as Irma is about to make landfall in Florida?
Well, we've had multiple meetings, you know, with FEMA administrator, with DHS, with HUD, with other members of the cabinet and other agencies, and we're putting in place the people, the field staff. They're already there. They're already being equipped with satellite radios, with means of communication, so that the situation can be quickly addressed.
All right, we will leave it there. Secretary Carson, it's good to see you, sir. Thanks very much for weighing in this morning.
My pleasure.
Ben
Thank you.
Carson there.